Another tall tale sign that Donald Trump is a narcissist is the way he reacts to criticism. Anytime Trump is called out, anytime he's criticized, he has basically no choice but to throw a temper tantrum. And that's exactly what's happened again. This time, Trump has melted down and even threatened MSNBC after a brutal insult from the network. How's it going, everybody? My name is Hunter Avalone with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now, speaking to Trump's insane allergy to any kind of criticism, he's also really desperate to distract. Instead of facing the mounting issues that are being caused in America by Trump, he would rather focus on petty, non-important things like renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which is an idea that's already proven to be incredibly unpopular, and it doesn't help Trump's approval rating.
On this particular one, it does. It does. It very much lines up. Rename the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Look at this. 67% of registered voters in the United States, according to a March Fox News poll, say that they oppose renaming the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. Just 31% of Americans favor, and I should note, even 36% of Republicans oppose it, despite the fact that there was near uniformity when, in fact, the House GOP lined up behind the change of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. But when it comes to the American people, two-thirds oppose, and that is very rare because in our politics, you rarely get two-thirds of Americans to agree upon anything.
So not only is Trump trying to distract with this petty nonsense, Trump voters are also incredibly petty. And this Trump voter just found out the hard way. Last year, they tweeted, "I'm voting for Donald Trump to own the libs." And then only recently, he tweeted again, this time explaining how his company went out of business and it's really the fault of the tariffs. It's almost like voting for somebody who doesn't actually care about you and your business just to own the libs is not a very smart philosophy. Wow. Also, congratulations, bro. You literally just owned yourself by voting for Trump. But Donald Trump's obstacles are only growing. Not only is he losing the favor of many Trump voters, not only is he still spiraling when it comes to his approval rate, but now some new legislation is being introduced to essentially delete Doge entirely.
You have introduced a bill called the Delete Doge Act.
That's right.
Can you tell us what that is?
Basically, what it would do is it would delete Doge. It would defund Doge. It says no money can be used for the purposes of what Doge is trying to do. Look, what Doge is doing is really harmful to people. Not only the people whose jobs were lost, but the people who rely on the services that those government workers provide. Like, Elon Musk has this whole move fast, break things approach, but that doesn't actually work for government programs that could literally be life or death for people, right? He accidentally fired the people who are supposed to be tracking Ebola and bird flu, or the people who are supposed to be answering the VA crisis hotline, or the people who are supposed to be monitoring our nuclear stockpile and make sure that it's safe, right? These are really important things.
Now, all of this nonsense has led to the moment you've been waiting for, as MSNBC insulted Donald Trump, and Trump responded by throwing a temper tantrum and threatening the network. It all started with this segment.
And nothing agreed to by the White House on international trade can ever become law, can ever be written into law without the approval of Congress. The stock market very much approved of Donald Trump's retreat today. The market was up and will probably be able to stay up on the now well-earned belief and expectation that Donald Trump will continue to surrender in so-called trade negotiations and continue to dramatically reduce or eliminate the illegal tariffs he has been threatening to impose. Donald Trump has gotten no concessions from China since launching his trade war against China, zero. And the New York Post is reporting tonight that Donald Trump is already planning to drop his illegal tariff against China from 145% to 50% next week, when Trump administration officials will be meeting with Chinese officials in Switzerland. The Chinese officials reading that information in the American press about Donald Trump already caving to them before they've even arrived in Switzerland and said a word is no doubt very encouraging to the Chinese negotiating team. Donald Trump is rightly seen as the confused, economically illiterate clown at the center of his own trade war, who has become the most unpopular president in the first 100 days of his presidency in the history of presidential polling.
Obviously, what they're saying is correct. I also really enjoy seeing MSNBC just rip into Donald Trump like this. It's well deserved. But of course, Trump responded in the worst way possible, getting super triggered and making weird threats.
MSNBC, the worst there is on television misrepresentation, is so far knowingly off in their statements about me and tariffs that it should be considered a major campaign violation. They are nothing less than an arm of the Democratic National Committee, and their untruths are incredible, real losers. Their ratings are down the tubes, but that pressure on them doesn't give them the right to lie and cheat.
So long story short, this is how it feels to have a narcissist as the president. A man baby who's desperate for power and admiration, and the minute he's met with even a little hint of criticism, he melts down entirely. It's embarrassing for Trump. It's even more embarrassing for America.